There's nothing impossible. Once you keep on going, there will be failures on the way, but keep on going and keep on going, then everything is possible. That is my philosophy in life. I'm Abiodun Oshokoya. In my mid-50s. Educated as a mechanic, because people will say he's an engineer. No, I'm educated as a mechanic. Had my youth service in River State, Port Harcourt. After the youth service, got back to Lagos. Became service assistant workshop manager for SCOA, and later become service maintenance manager for SCOA. Then after that, I went into private practice as a consultant, training, consulting in automobile. But I think that was too early for the society. So I went back into IT. So I work as an IT person, maybe initially as a consultant, became the general manager of an IT firm for 7 years. Then later started an automobile company, because that's what I actually studied in school. And then since then, maybe I've remained Abiodun Oshokoya. I've not changed. I was working for an IT company. Like I said, for 7 years of my life, I was working as an IT consultant. And eventually I became the general manager of that company. So I was running things in that company. Unfortunately, I had issues with my boss, not in terms of finance or anything, but in terms of direction of the company. At a point we're doing well. Unfortunately, the economy was a bit down, and we needed to re-strategize and move on. So he asked me for my position. I did a write-up for him so that we can move forward. But unfortunately, he didn't see much in my write-up. And to me, I felt that should be the way we should go. So now there is difference between our idea, his own idea or his own vision is now different from my own vision. So what do? It means that I need to move out so that he can pursue his own vision. I too can actually pursue my own vision. That is how I said, okay, we've done so much in IT. Cars are getting computerized every day. I've done my certifications in IT. So why not bring that certification in IT back into automobile? Cars are getting programmed, software is running everything in automobiles. Why not bring those experience and ideas back into automobile? Already, your foundation is automobile engineering. You just find yourself in information technology. Why not use that idea of information technology, merge it with automobile, and then start something? That was how I started as a mechanic. When I wanted to start, no funds, nothing. So how do you start? You want to be a mechanic. You need to set up a workshop. Where do you raise money? Where is the capital? I mean, you are just an IT guy who has worked for 7 years. Nothing like money anywhere. It is just, how much was my salary? 120,000 or 150,000 naira. I was paying 70,000 naira for car loan because we bought cars. 70,000 naira from 150,000 naira. So if you take 70,000 naira away from 80,000 naira, you have wives, you have children to look after. So nothing left. And I drove around the entire metropolis to see what the LUBE business is all about. Because LUBE business, rebalancing, alignment, and LUBE business is part of automobile. In fact, it's one of the major businesses we do. So I drove around the whole Lagos. What I could see was that Lagos, most of the LUBE centers you have are run by the quacks. The companies can't separate their forecourt business from their supermarket business from their LUBE business. So I made the first proposal. Fortunately, I had a friend working in one of the major oil companies. So I sent in a proposal. And I proposed. And by the time they came back to me, their rent I can't afford, there's no way I can afford that rent. I said to myself, what do I do? Fortunately, I went to a gathering, I met a friend. He said he works with another oil marketing company. I told him about my idea, and he said, fantastic. He said, fantastic, that I should come. They will give me the best. And I went in there, maybe they asked me to pay 1.5 million naira or thereabout then for a LUBE. So I did. One of the challenges of an entrepreneur is capital. And until we get it right in terms of fundraising or in terms of raising capital for startups, because though we're not sure whether the startup will fail or will succeed, but first of all, capital needs to be available for startups. So that's one of the challenges. The second challenge was, how do I prove to people I'm a mechanic? I can actually do it. That is where marketing, advertising, talking to people, it took time for the business to take off. Then another one is staff challenges. You employ people. The level you are in the trade or in the technology, they are not there. So you have to do most of the jobs yourself, or you have to supervise, you have to be there personally to see that the job is being done exactly the way you want it done. Then after people see that, okay, the guy is being successful, competition comes in, everybody wants to do exactly the same thing you are doing. And then that means you need to be a step ahead of every other person. If you're not a step ahead of every other person, it means that with time, you will fade off completely. I will say, okay, one of the experience of that was we had a station. We're running a LUBE center for a particular major marketer. When they were doing Lekki Expressway, before we got that place, we did a proposal to them. We offered them how much we were ready to pay them for that LUBE. So it was more of us offering the oil marketers, how much we're ready to pay, which is completely outside the normal industry standard. They were happy, and they called us. They said that we should do a cash flow, what they call cash flow projection, to be sure that if we take that particular LUBE, over time, over the years, we'll be able to pay our rent. So we did the cash flow projections. After cash flow projections, we sent it in. They invited us for an interview or a discussion. They agreed, so we moved in. 6 months down the line, when we started our business, Lekki Expressway was to be constructed. So cut off our major businesses. So which means our projection was right, because by second month or third month of our projection that we should be, our net margin should be around 1.2, 1.4 billion naira. We're able to meet it. But 6 months down that line, the construction of Lekki Expressway cut off the entire business. And so our revenue dropped, our net income dropped from 1.something million naira to like 400 or 500,000 naira. So when you take off your rent, staff payment, so you're running at a loss. So I went back to the company, we spoke, and they too understand that, yeah, viable business, construction issues, or government issues, or which they can't help. And they said, okay, what you've done here, we want you to replicate the same thing in 5 places. So go and give us a proposal for 5 places. It's a fantastic offer. I went in. I don't have ready-made equipment on ground to fill in 5 places, and they want it in 30 days. So why you can't order, if you order from China or anywhere, it will take average of 3 months for equipment to arrive. One of my staff just said, he knows one man that normally leads equipment to facilities like that. I called the man, I spoke with him. He asked me, what are 5 equipments? What do you want to do 5? It's strange for you to say you want 5 equipments at the same time. I said, yes. And he asked me, where do you need it? I said, I need it in total. That was the end of that business. By morning, the guy went straight to the company. and told them, and that is one of the lessons of being an entrepreneur, your competitor or whoever must not be able to, your trade secret, you must not leak it to anybody. You must keep it to yourself. So the guy went straight to Total and said, the guy you wanted to give the 5 bays to does not have those equipments. He wanted to lease them from me. I have his letter, because that evening he said I should send him a proposal, which I did, to apply to say, I want to lease 5 sets of equipment, so and so, from you. So, and that was it. They believed him because he has evidence of equipment on ground. And so that was how the business was taken away from us. He had the 5 businesses. He had the 5 businesses, eventually grew to 10, 15, 20, 25. Well, happy for the guy, but we still keep on doing what we need to do. So another challenge is your trade secret, you must not give it to another person, because they can be, even if it's your friend, it might be your competitor. It might go behind you to take your business. So another lesson learned as an entrepreneur. Trusting staff, your staff, might be another challenge you face as an entrepreneur. Let me give an example. My concept of LUBE centers was more of a chain centers, where within the city, within Lagos, we should be able to have like 5, 6, or 7 centers. If you say you are going there, we are there. And so we started. We employed a staff to run one of our LUBE centers. So we're expanding now. We've grown, so we're now expanding our business. So we employed the guy to look after our LUBE center. I was with him for 6 months, and that center, already I've grew that center to be a profit point. And then, okay, continue to manage. Let me go back, because the core area, our core workshop is suffering. Customers were going because I wasn't around. When they call me, they want me to do business. They want me to be around to inspect. They want me to do things for them. I wasn't available because I was making sure the new business takes off as expected. You should understand, staff do extraordinary things to make sure, because he started seeing money. I think he started getting money. And it will give customers will come, it will give quotation. Our quotation, the company quotation is 150,000 naira. But if you want me to do it, I will do it for 90,000 naira. The same person that wrote a quotation of 150,000 naira, the same person that is offering the customer 90,000 naira against 150,000 naira. I was still paying their salaries, running things. I was still carrying all the expenses, paying rents and all the stuff. Then one thing I noticed was that I became disinterested in that center completely. I would drive down there to buy fuel. LUBE is just like 5 meters or 10 meters away from the pump, from the forecourt. And I will just wave at them and then drive off. This is my center, and for 2 years I was doing that. After investigations and checks, we discovered that it's more spiritual attack on my person to be disinterested in that point, thinking maybe he can raise money, to pay the rent. Unfortunately, when they told him the rent, he couldn't pay. So eventually he moved out, called me, he wants to leave, and he left. When you go to most of the oil companies, there is what they call non-fuel revenue, NFR, which means non-fuel revenue. Initially, all their revenues are all based on fuel. But we're the first person to tell them that no, your revenue shouldn't be based on fuel alone. You can, within your center, if you have a mat, it's a business on its own. If you have a LUBE, it's a business on its own. So it's one thing for the dealer. That means the station dealer to be interested in the supermarket. Maybe first you offer him to say, are you interested in the supermarket? He says yes. You rent to him. It's pure business. Not that because he's running the station, he must run the LUBE. He must be he's not an expert It's not his core area. His core area is to sell fuel. He's not an expert in lube business. So if he's interested, let him employ people who are interested in the lube to run the lube. So I think one of the things, and so if you go around all the major marketers now, they are differentiating between, I was the one, I'm proud to say, I was the one that actually brought that up and to make them understand that it's possible for you to separate your businesses, not fuel alone, supermarkets, and lube. So that is one impact. Secondly, we've trained our staffs, most of the staff we've worked with, especially those who are mechanics. A lot of them are experts because we try to transfer knowledge. We don't hide knowledge. We try as much as possible to transfer knowledge to them. Open knowledge. If you are ready to read, we'll give you. But if you are not, if you are interested in practicals, we'll tell you how to go about it. And then how to run the business too, we're very open in showing you how to run. Because in future, if you are interested in running the business, you are free to go ahead and run the business. Car owners need to understand computer controls the world now. Computers inside the cars are talking to themselves. So which means if computers inside the car are talking to themselves, you don't need a Rafiu or Sule to just assume that, okay, when you get to him, okay, let me give I will give one instance. A car came in 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. Rat at the distance sensor. The sensor he uses in measuring the distance, the rat, because the car wasn't used. One of the problems with cars is that when you have cars, you need to drive it. If you don't drive it, rat will definitely come in and help you destroy it. So, and when the car was complaining, the car wasn't complaining about the sensor that it can't communicate, the sensor can't communicate. It was complaining about the parking brake. That the parking brake, he can't talk to the car parking brake. Or he was telling the owner, parking brake fault, parking brake fault. That was what he was shouting. So if you take it to a roadside, what he's going to look at is the parking brake, because that is what the car is complaining of. Unfortunately, the car is not, if you have a computer, assuming the mechanic has a computer, and he runs a diagnosis, the diagnosis will be able to say, this is the module or the computer that is not talking or has an issue. So based on that, you can now look at that computer. So when we ran a diagnosis, we discovered that it was complaining about the speed sensor. Speed sensor again. Okay, we now went further. Because it's not about, they said we are book engineers. They said the garages are book engineers. The manufacturers, when they manufacture their cars, they do repair manuals that are as much as 5,000 pages because they know there is no one shortcut for a repair. One particular problem, you might have 20 ways of solving the problem, or 20 things might cause one particular problem. So they need to give you those options, one after the other. That means there is no particular way to solve one particular problem. And that is why you have 5,000 pages of manual, 10,000 pages, even some 20,000 pages of manual to give instruction or to direct you how to repair the car. So when you take your car to a roadside, what you have done is you spend more. You're not going to have value for money because the car is not going to run the way it's supposed to run. Then eventually, when you want to fix it, you are still coming back. So it's like the more you spend at the roadside, you've just thrown it. It's like dashing the guy or throwing it away. Destroy the car more. And by the time it comes, they want to put it back into their normal shape. Then you spend more money to fix it. There is no elevator to success. You must pass through, you must climb the stairs. That's number one for the young ones. Number two, you must continue to read. I'm talking about reading means reading about your immediate interest. That's number two. Number three, everywhere you go to, there's always a business opportunities within your environment. So you need to continue to look out for business opportunities within that your environment. It's not, the foreigners are coming here in droves. They are making money, they are going back. So what are we saying? It means that, can't we see? There are so much opportunities here, and I think the young generation needs to understand that. It's not until you fraud somebody, that is when you make money. No, though it takes time for you to grow. It took us time to get to where we are. but at least it was a steady rise. Over time, we've learned our lesson. We have mentors. We have mentors we talk to. We have advisors. We have consultants. Now that we are also consulting for people too now, but we've learned our lesson over time. So I think that is an opportunity. A lot of opportunities around, so the youths should look at opportunities around them and take advantage of those opportunities.